Hi everybody, welcome back to DayZ, and in this video I'm going to be talking about loot damage and how you as a server owner can control the amount of damage items have when they spawn in on your servers. Because if you want things to last longer, to have more durability, you'll have to make them spawn in with little to no damage. However, if you wanted a more hardcore server, you'd want them to spawn in maybe with more damage so they don't last as long. Vanilla servers at the moment, as of 1.2.1, stuff spawns in quite damaged, quite a lot of it. So it is quite a challenge to stay on top of your gear as a player. But hey, this is a zombie survival game. So anyway, let's have a look at the files involved. So I've just brought up the Types.xml file, which you'll probably be familiar with. And all this does, it's just telling the server, these are the things I want you to spawn in on the server. Or these are the things that should be around on the server because they might be spawned in by other things like dynamic events. But it doesn't relate to damage. When we want to relate to damage, there's two files we look at. There's globals.xml, which is in your DB directory on your server, and CFG spawnable types.xml, which is in your missions folder. So you have your missions folder, and then you have your DB directory and your env directory. So what globals.xml does is it has these two lines here. Variable name loot damage max, variable name loot damage min, type 1, which means that this setting is turned on. Then you have these two values as well. So what is the maximum damage loot should spawn in with, and what is the minimum damage it should spawn in with? So this is saying that actually stuff can spawn in pristine, but it also basically can spawn in very damaged, so it's about to break, about to go ruined. And loot will spawn in with a random selection between those 2 points, unless that value is overridden in CFG spawnable types.xml. Now, in CFG spawnable types.xml, what this file does is, if something is going to spawn in on your server, i.e. via the CLE, so it's going to appear on a table somewhere, or it's going to appear with a dynamic event or something like that, CFG spawnable types says, well, when that item appears, it should appear in this condition with these accessories with it. So for example, if we take bags, so say the assault bag, CFG spawnable type says, well, when it spawns in, spawn it in with some cargo in, and then it bases that cargo on another file, which we won't go into. But not only that, if you scroll down a bit, what you'll find is you will get to, let's see if we can go back to the top and scroll down. Here we go. Certain items will also have a damage value against them. So, for example, the night vision goggles, when they are spawned in, however that might happen, should spawn in with a damage value between 0, so pristine, and 0.32, which is probably worn, I think. It's probably something like that. So what you should see here is the small protector case doesn't have a value in CFG spawnable types. So that means its amount of damage will be controlled by globals, whereas the night vision goggles, the Gazoo optic, the Starlight optic, the Org optic, etc. And if we scroll down, there's probably other stuff as well. There we go, like the Deagle, the gold Deagle. In fact, that hasn't got a damage value, has it? There you go. So the CZ550 spawns in with a damage value between 0.3 and 0.7. So that's the way that damage works, in the vanilla files on your server. Overall damage to everything is controlled by loot damage min and loot damage max, but individual items can be overridden and are overridden by the server within CFG spawnable types. So if you wanted to edit your files to have less damage, your globals would probably look something like this file here, where, as you can see, so I've got loot damage max is 0.2, loot damage min is 0.05, but I guess that could be 0, couldn't it? So it means that on this particular server, everything spawns in pristine. Some is slightly less pristine than others, so it's going to last a little bit less long, not as long, but it enables people to, when they find stuff, generally it can work for quite a while before it wears out or they need to repair it. And also within CFG spawnable types, if we go down, we can see that the night vision goggles spawn in with a minimum damage of 0.01 to 0.2 as a max. So again, they'll be spawning in virtually pristine. Well, they will be pristine, and again, they will last a long time. So that's how it works. So if you want the things on your server to spawn in pristine, the first file you edit is your globals.xml, and you change the loot damage max to something like 0.2 or 0.1, and change the loot damage minimum to something like, I don't know, 0.05 like Avir, or 0.1. That would work. And then you need to go into your CFG spawnable types, and using something like find and replace, change your damage mins and damage maxes to like 0.01 and 0.2, and then things will be spawning in pristine, or make those values higher if you want stuff to spawn in with more damage. Okay, hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully it's answered a few questions. If it has, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.